Hello and welcome to a Gooner Ramble. Joining me tonight on this podcast after a comprehensive 5-2 away win against Leicester City is regular Callum. Callum, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. And we've got the man who produces, edits and does pretty much everything for this podcast. It's Rick. Rick, how are you doing?
I am doing very well. Very well.
Round of applause.
We do love. He is the unsung hero of this podcast.
Man behind the curtain.
He is. All right, guys. So, 3 o'clock kickoff yesterday, King Power Stadium. Different lineup, obviously. Like most people on a Saturday night, they're cock hurt, so we had to put Flamini in the middle. Oh, come on, I've got to make a joke about it.
You, James.
I've got to make a joke about it. It's too funny. It's out there. You put it out there. I've got to make a joke about it. Theo Walcott starts, which I wanted. My team that I put out on Twitter beforehand was pretty much exactly the same, apart from Ramsey was out wide. But let's go straight into it. What did you make of the lineup, everybody? Was it just what you thought it was going to be?
I think it was pretty predictable. I mean, Wenger, when he gets his favourite team in the Premier League, he kind of sticks with it. Walcott had been in good form, so he was always going to keep his position. And then obviously with Gabriel, was he suspended? He was suspended, wasn't he, for yesterday's game?
For one match.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mertesacker was always going to play. Monreal, obviously we played the Leicester side against Spurs in the week. But no, I think it was pretty much as we expected. When I saw the lineup, I wasn't at all surprised. I guess the only thing that I would like to have maybe seen was Oxlade-Chamberlain just to come in for Ramsey, because I think he, especially after playing at Spurs in the week, could probably have done with a break and hasn't exactly been set in the world light on the right wing, but I think he did actually play quite well, Ramsey, for the most part. So I think whilst the team selection was kind of obvious, I thought Wenger got it pretty much spot on, although...
Were we watching different games?
Why?
I thought Aaron Ramsey was absolutely dreadful.
He did his usual thing of losing the ball.
I think he's been dreadful for a few weeks. I don't know whether let him go on a rest or something. He's not doing it for me at the moment, really.
My general feeling about Ramsey is that I think it's got to the point, not necessarily with. I mean, I don't think his individual performances have been particularly good, but the issue is that when he plays on the right, we lose all balance in the team, because he is not going to stay out on the right. He will always come in. And, of course, we've also got Alexis on the left, who's always going to want to cut in from the left as well, so it kind of crowds the middle. So I was kind of the opinion that we're going to have to start playing either Cazorla or Ramsey in the middle, not one in the middle, one shot in that wide. But I actually thought his overall performance wasn't too bad. Like he did his normal thing of losing the ball quite a lot, but I think for the most part he worked hard, and he a lot of our attacks I thought he was a big part of, and it wasn't his best game, but I certainly think he's had worse games the last few weeks. It wasn't his worst by any means, but obviously he's still not quite doing the business. But at right midfield, I feel like his influence is mitigated a little bit, so it's kind of tough to judge. But I'm certainly, moving forward, I'm certainly of the opinion that we could do with perhaps using Oxlade-Chamberlain some more on the right, but I think Wenger probably wants to stick with Ramsey, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. And Rick, what about yourself? Did you think the lineup was pretty much, it picks itself with Coquelin out, Flamini in?
Yeah, with Coquelin injured and Gabriel serving a suspension, there were really no surprises. I mean, I guess I was just a little surprised he didn't start Arteta over Flamini, but I guess 0 to hero, he was on a high, so you're going to start him, I guess.
Yeah. Sadly, he had to go off with that injury, but Arteta, when he come on, I thought he did okay. I mean, if we want to get into it, Vardy scored on 13 minutes, didn't he? And I didn't think it was doom and gloom. I thought we'll be all right here, which is quite weird normally. When we go a goal down, I think the world's ended normally. But yesterday, I thought with the pace of the game and how everything's going, there's going to be goals at both ends. I just think, credit to Leicester. They could have, when they scored their goal, sort of parked the bus and defended for their lives, but they still come at us, which I think is quite admirable of Leicester. I think they've done really well this season as well. I think they'll definitely stay up, and they've got quite a good unit and quite a good front line. I mean, Jamie Vardy this season's on cracking form, and that Mahrez, right, he wasn't fantastic yesterday, but he's a brilliant player as well.
I think, though, actually it's interesting because, Leicester, everyone's saying great game, good on you, Leicester, for going at us, and it certainly made for a fantastic match. I think even the Leicester fans who would have been disappointed to lose will have come away from the stadium yesterday thinking we got our money's worth in that match. But every team which is 90% of the teams we play who come and sit and frustrate us, will look at that match and say we're absolutely right to sit back and frustrate Arsenal, because look what they can do on the counter. You know, when was the last time we scored 5 goals? Did we score 5 against West Brom on the last day of the season? Maybe, but you know, we haven't done it for a while, or we don't do it very regularly. And it's no coincidence that we scored those 5 goals against a team that went at us from the get-go. And you know, another day, you know, if Vardy's header just before Walcott's equaliser goes in, it's 2-0, then you could say, you know, superb. You've gone out and attacked Arsenal and you've got the result. But you know, if you're going to do that, we do have such blistering pace on the counter. I mean, Walcott was having a field day yesterday, the amount of space being left in behind the Leicester defence, and that's where his goal came from. So, yeah, I mean, huge credit to Leicester, and I really like them. I like Ranieri, and I think they'll do well this season. But you could perhaps accuse them of being a little bit naive. But we did well, I think, anyway, to exploit that space they left, and we hit them on the counter consistently, which is really good to see.
Yeah, very, very true. We're talking about hitting them on the counter. Our goal goes in on the 18th minute from Theo Walcott, and Santi Cazorla in that build-up. What a pass! I mean, I think I've got it here on the statistics here. He's made 32 assists since his debut in 2012 in August, and that's more than any player in the Premier League. He is so good, isn't he? Like he's got a bit of flack recently, people saying he's not been as good as what he normally is, but he can pick out a pass, that's for damn sure, isn't it, Rick?
Oh, absolutely. That was that was the pace you're talking about. That counterattack really exhibited exactly what we need to do more, a lot more.
Vengable, as they call it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Alexis threaded a pass through to Cazorla. He just, 2-touch, boom, it's on a Theo, and it's in the back of the net. That's what we need to see a lot more of, is a faster transition. Too often they're looking around for the easy pass instead of taking a little risk and putting it through to somebody. And it was good to see. It was good to see, especially coming off what could have been a goal against us. That was frightening.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant counter.
I would say as well, let me go back to the goal we gave up, because we all love Laurent Koscielny. As a matter of fact, Akil's singing a new song for him. But I think he made a poor decision on that goal. He did not step out and challenge the guy with the ball. He decided to just take away the pass instead of the immediate threat. And I really think that ended up.
That was Mertesacker, was it not?
No, Mertesacker was chugging, trying to catch up, and he was never going to get there.
Oh, apologies. No. I thought it was Mertesacker kind of threw his massive body in front of the ball as it went in, but I could be mistaken.
Too late. Yeah, but I think Koscielny should have stepped out, and you push him to the near post. You don't let him cut back on you. Don't let him make a pass. Push him in the near post, and your keeper can deal with it from there. But he decided to stay in the middle and take and stay on the guy that was in the box. I think that was a pretty poor mistake from a center back who's as good as him.
Yeah, I thought the defending was shocking for that as well. Pretty much, we're normally a lot better than that. But I think without Coquelin as well, having Arteta and Mertesacker in that defensive shit, it's so slow. That's going to be really prone. I hope Coquelin is back. If not for Olympiacos, then definitely for Man United, as that Depay and everybody, they run for days, don't they? So we want someone like Coquelin that can hopefully, get a bit more leggy and catch up a bit.
Well, yeah, that was just a ball over the top. I think it was, I'm picking on Koscielny a bit because it was a 2-on-1, so it's very difficult to deal with. But I was just a little disappointed that me sitting there watching the game can scream at the TV going closing down, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I think it is worth remembering as well that Leicester going into this game had looked so good going forward, and whilst we certainly didn't help, we certainly helped them with some poor defending. I don't think there's any real shame or disgrace in conceding 2 goals to them at home, especially at their place. Although we probably could have conceded more had Czech not been kind of in good form. But no, I think when that goal went in, you kind of think, same old Arsenal, and after the great result in the week, we were attacking, and then within 20 seconds they had the ball in the back of our net, and we had a 2-on-2 situation. It all just kind of felt like we've been there before, haven't we? But yeah, I mean, credit, we rode a luck, as we said, with that Vardy header. They hit the post, and then we went up the other end and scored. On another day we go 2-0 down, but as we had it, we went 1-1. One thing I wanted to say about Cazorla as well was that he actually started the move as well. After the ball hit the bar, he ended up with the ball in the box. I think he was closed down. He didn't panic. He kind of dropped the shoulder and laid the ball off, and then within 10 seconds he was receiving the ball halfway out the pitch as to where he was, and then he moved the ball through to Walcott and he scores. So I think he deserves a huge amount of credit, not just for the killer pass, which obviously everyone will rightly praise him for, but also for the desire to get up the pitch. And as he's a deep line midfielder nowadays, and you'd almost forgive him if he laid the ball off and let Alexis and Ozil and Walcott go off. But he showed real desire to get up there, and I think that was commendable from him. And I think he gets a lot of stick Cazorla sometimes. I think he does a lot of good work that isn't perhaps heralded as much as it should be. And I saw a stat yesterday that since he arrived in the Premier League, he's got more assists than anyone else, even more than David Silva. And I think this season he and Ozil, between them, both he and Ozil are the top of the table for chances created. So I think he's in good form again, which is really, really pleasing to see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the second goal, again, it was easiest goal Sanchez, Sanchez will ever get in his life, but he needed that for the confidence boost. But Walcott, involved in that move, I thought yesterday was one of the best games I've seen him have in an Arsenal shirt for ages. I thought he was fantastic, and it just showed really how, for me, Walcott should be that main starting striker. He's had a lot of people saying he's not good enough. I myself have said I don't think he's brilliant. I don't think he's really that good of a striker, but I think now, giving him this solid run, he's proven his worth. And he was a complete and utter nuisance for Leicester yesterday, and it was brilliant to watch. And I think his involvement in that goal was fantastic. What about you guys?
Well, one thing I wanted to say about Walcott, I've been saying for a while that I do think Walcott can excel in that position. In the summer, when we weren't buying a striker, I was kind of, whilst I obviously wanted your Benzema's, your Lewandowski's, those kind of players anyone would want. But when people were saying, we should have got Benteke, we should have got Jackson Martinez, I was always kind of the opinion that, I think Walcott could score 20 league goals this season if he had a run on the team. And there's been a lot of talk. I've heard so many times where people say, but he doesn't have that instinct that a striker has. He doesn't look like a natural striker.
Yes, he does.
And I just think, people say he has. People have been saying that. They say when you look at him, he doesn't look. And I understand why. But when the beginning of the season, he was scuffing chances. He missed that sitter at Newcastle. Mm-hmm. But any striker, they're not just that good because they were born with that striker's instinct. They're that good because they work really, really hard and they are experienced in those positions. Before this season, you can count on two hands how many games Walcott played for us as a striker in the decade or so he's been here. So to write him off after 2 or 3 matches up front saying he's not got it, he hasn't got that instinct, I thought was really unfair on him. And I think already in the space of 5 matches, you can see now that he got that goal he got against Stoke. He missed a couple of chances early on. Then he took that goal out of the air, put it past the keeper, and since then he's looked so confident in front of goal. That chance he took against Leicester was brilliantly taken on his left foot. Some people could say he should have looked up and seen Ramsey to pass in for a tap in, but he did what we want to see him do, which is play on the shoulder of the last man, get in behind, and without thinking about it, he just put it right beyond the keeper, in off the post. Brilliant accuracy from his weaker foot, and you can just see he's starting to play with the confidence he didn't have, I think, even 2 months ago, because he's actually getting a run in that position. And I think that's what he's needed for such a long time, and I think he can do well there. And I'm not just saying that because he scored 3 in 3 games or whatever. I just think that a guy who is that quick and that clinical when he's on form can do well in that position, and every week he plays that he'll get better. I've no doubt about that. So I think if he stays fit, he's in for a great season, and I'm really looking forward to him to doing well there. And I think with Ozil and Cazorla, Alexis around him, he's gonna really hit form. So it's exciting, and I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong this season.
I hope so. I've always been a big fan. I know people say he's not a natural striker, but I believe he is. I don't know when the game changed so much that a guy with lightning pace that can put the ball in net is not a striker. I don't get it. But I guess
a lot of people have been saying it though.
I know. I don't get it, though. I think they all talk about hold-up play and target man, and I think that's a bunch of crap. That's only one aspect of a striker. That's not the be-all, end-all. But people are saying because he lacks that, he's not a striker. I think that's ridiculous, and it's good to see he's getting a run of games because I think he will score goals, just like you. I think he'll score. Start him and he scores. That's what I always say.
Yeah, very true. Well, after that, the first half was pretty much a bit quiet. Talking of quiet, I thought Ozil first half was very quiet, but then on the 57th minute, Alexis Sanchez again, the man of the moment. But what a pass by Mesut Ozil! And yesterday in the second half especially, I thought you just showed the worth of him when he's got the runners around him, when he's got Sanchez, when he's got Walcott, when when he's got Cazorla, and even Ramsey to an extent. I didn't think he had a great game, but at least he sort of gets forward as well. Ozil can feed him a pass and everything else. What did you make of that second goal, Rick? I'll come to you, Rick, first.
Oh, it was just fantastic. I mean, I was
the leap as well. It's the leap.
Yeah. Initially, I was frustrated because we're doing the same old thing. We're passing around the box, and I just want somebody to shoot the damn ball. And then Ozil just lifted that ball up over everyone, and it was great. It was great. I was frustrated we didn't shoot on the pass before that, but put it in the net, make me look like a numpty. That's okay.
And Callum, what did you make of it?
I think there's a part of every Arsenal fan when we see an Ozil ball finished off by Alexis, we feel something. It all feels a bit surreal. It feels very exciting, and it's something that we've not seen enough, unfortunately, for various reasons. But no, I mean it was a moment that, without wanting to be too over the top, felt like only Ozil could do it. It was such a, first of all, the vision to see it, the audacity to try it, and then the actual ability to just drop it perfectly weighted over the top of the whole defence onto Alexis's head. It was such a great ball. I know people have said it was a good assist, but I don't think it's getting the credit it deserves. It really is, an incredible thing to do, and it came at an important time because at 2-1, I think I said on Twitter, this Leicester side have made a name for themselves from comebacks, and 2-1 never really feels like a good result for us at the last 10-15 minutes of a match. They can come in and equalise, but especially this Leicester team that are very good. So for that bit of quality to get us a goal was so important, and I think that's what we need. If you're going to be title winners, you need your big players to come up in those moments where the game's kind of on a knife edge, could go either way, and produce those bits of magic. And obviously we saw that. I think for Ozil, that is why we paid the 40 million for Ozil, is for those little bits of brilliance that so few players can do. And then of course, I know you probably want to bring it up again, James, but that Alexis goal for his hat trick, was that bit of magic that only the best players can do. So
well, I just still on this goal, I liked his determination to get in the box and get to that ball.
Yeah.
The one before that, Walcott gets in there and he creates enough confusion that he gets a tap in. I mean, we spend so much time standing around the edge of the box, and I was just glad to see we were getting in there and determined to get into the box and score those goals.
I think I saw as well that Ozil ran the second amount of any player on the pitch, or at least amongst Arsenal players. So this idea that he's lazy is so. If you actually watch it, I mean, this debate we've had, I don't know how many times we've had it, and it's frustrating whenever you hear people say he's lazy, but his off-the-ball movement is superb, and he works constantly. He's not going to go flying into tackles or muscle centre-halves off the ball, because that's not who he is. It's not his game. It's not what he's in the team to do. But as you said, his determination, I think, is really unwavering. And, even when he's not having a good game, I still think he's going to put himself about and try and produce those. I think with Ozil, with him, the difference between having a good game and a bad game can be those moments, So, if he doesn't produce that ball for Alexis, for example, people might say, he ran around a lot, but he's trying these things that weren't quite coming off. But when it does come off, it can win you a match, and that's why he's in the team, I really think. And, I just think it's brilliant. And as you say, Rick, it's great to see us kind of being more penetrative. I mean, I think as much as it was us being better and more clinical, it was also the fact that Leicester were a bit more open than most sides would be against us. But even so, I thought it was so cathartic, to take all those chances, to put a team to the sword, and a very good team as well, on the road. It just felt like the kind of game we've been wanting all season, and obviously Tottenham in the week was great, but that I don't say that we played that brilliantly. It was kind of a close match decided by a Matthew Flamini brace, which you never really legislate for. But this game felt like a culmination of a few weeks of, kind of improving bit by bit. But we really felt like our, this is the Arsenal side that we think can win the league. This free-flowing attacking force. That's what we're going to need to do more often if we're going to win the league. But I think it was great to finally see it, and obviously going into the games against Olympiacos and Man United this week, I thought it really couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, talking on Ozil again, second half I thought he was flawless. First half, like I said, I thought he was a bit quiet, but he needs to do this in a game against a Man United or against a Bayern Munich or someone. He needs to do it in a big game. You know, in the FA Cup final, I thought he was amazing. Like I said, I thought every player in that FA Cup final was amazing. But you know, at the end of the day, it was Aston Villa. You know, they weren't the best side going into it. So I just want Ozil to perform in a massive game because he needs it for his confidence. I think he can do well against Leicester's and all of these, but he really needs to shine in a big game for me. But moving on to the 81st minute, and Sanchez scores the pick of the bunch. You know, what a goal that was. What did you guys make of that?
I mean, this was prime Alexis, wasn't it? I mean, the first goal was I guess a bit luck that kind of fell to him there. Second goal was a nice header, but as we said, Ozil kind of put on a play for him. But this was just incredible. I mean, and the thing with Alexis is that he scored so many goals last season, but he scored so many brilliant goals as well. I mean, you could have his own. I mean, a bit like Aaron Ramsey in the season before. You could have a goal of the season competition just with Alexis goals, and you'd struggle to pick a top 5. You know, he scored so many good ones, in big matches. And this one, you know, was just taken. I mean, the thing with Alexis is I saw some people say that that was because he was confident enough after the first 2, and I think, well, he hasn't lacked any confidence. Like, Alexis isn't someone to get. I don't think he needs. I don't think he's a guy that is easily rattled. You know, whereas someone like Giroud, maybe even Ozil, you could say, when they're not really feeling it, they suffer. I think with Alexis, he's always going to try, and he knows that he's good enough. He knows that eventually it'll come off. And whilst we sometimes get frustrated with him losing the ball, or you know, maybe taking an extra touch when he really should just lay the ball off, what we saw there was just sums up why he's such an amazing player. And really, I think for me, one of the most exciting players in world football. Might not be the very best, but that kind of skill is just. You take it for granted. Already, we've only had him for a year and a bit, but I feel some people are taking that for granted. How good that goal is, how regularly he's able to do that, and it was just brilliant. You know, take it round the man like that, and then hit it from that far out so accurately into the corner, just superb. And I think, you know, hopefully this will kickstart his season. As I said, I don't think he needed the confidence. I think he had that anyway. But I think once you come off scoring a hat trick like that, you know, whenever you hit that ball, you can hit it with a little bit more. I don't know, just when you hit it, you're going to feel like it's going to go in, perhaps, than if you hadn't scored for a little while. So, yeah, I mean, it was a perfect way to round off a hat-trick, wasn't it? And
I think that little move to create the space was pretty exquisite as well.
Again, it felt like
it around only
Alexis would even try it, you know.
Yeah.
To have the audacity to flick it around the guy, take a touch, then hammer it in from 30 yards or whatever, you know, that's not something that most players do. Even the best attacking players, you don't see it real.
Just throwing a question out there to both of you guys. He's not fully fit right at the moment. If he is fully fit, could he get 5, 6 goals in a game? If that's him not 100%, well, what can he do when he is the man?
There's days, every player I'm sure has at least one day in their career where everything seems to go from, and wherever they hit touches to goal, they'll get one off their arse, they'll get one deflected in, the ball will just fall to their feet a yard from goal and they'll score it. So I think with Alexis, the thing you can say is he'll always keep trying. You know, he won't score 3 and say that's me for the day, I'm going to chill. He'll say I've got 3, and then he'll still chase the ball like a pit bull. He'll still shoot from 30 yards. You know, he'll always be that kind of guy, and that sort of character I think is invaluable in the team. And yeah, I mean, look, that was his first hat-trick for us. I think that's hugely important. He scored a lot of braces and stuff, but I think with a guy like Alexis, there really isn't any limit to what he can achieve in an Arsenal shirt. You know, he's huge for us.
I'm saying now I love Alexis, always believe in him. He always tries. But here's what I did. Just a few days before my fantasy league,
you took him out.
I had Alexis in there as my captain for like 6 weeks. He's done nothing, so I took him out.
Oh, that's such an amateur move.
It is a total amateur move.
I guess, look, Rick, you could say that you took one for the team by putting him in there.
Yeah. I guess I got to leave him on the bench the rest of the year.
Yeah, you got to keep him out. You can't put it back in now.
Well, I had Wayne Rooney as my captain for weeks. I managed to jinx his start of the season, but after a while, I was like, look, I gotta get some points. So I gotta get you go, Wayne. And of course, then he lets the goal go. So I'm sorry, he scored. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's my fault. But no, Alexis, man, you got to keep the faith. Because the thing with Alexis is not like Hazard, for example, who has been invisible in matches. And I'm not just saying that because we all fucking hate Chelsea. I'm saying it because even Chelsea fans are saying, you know, where's Hazard from even 6 months ago, you know? Whereas Alexis has always been there. You know, I think before this weekend, he'd had by far the most shots in the league without scoring. And people can criticise him for that. But, you know, he against Stoke, for example, he hit the post twice in the first half. One, an amazing save by Butland. And the second one hit the inside of the post and came out. I mean, those kind of things. On another day, they both go in, he scores a brace. I mean, yeah, like Leicester, for example, those first 2 goals, there was an element of luck, but They weren't. They were much easier chances to score than he had in the Stoke match.
But let's be honest. Until I put him on my fantasy bench, he wasn't getting done. I think this is all doing to me.
Well, I have this thing on my fantasy team where every week I put someone on my bench who scores. So when Callum Wilson got the hat-trick a few weeks ago, he was on my bench, of course. This week I decided to put Callum Wilson in my team and put Nathan Redmond on my bench. And, of course, Callum Wilson subbed off after 13 minutes with a broken leg or, his knees all screwed up, and Redmond gets a goal from the bench. So that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
I will say as well, whilst we're talking about Sanchez, we're a club that do a lot of things first, and he's the first man to score a hat-trick in Serie A, the La Liga, and now the Premier League.
Oh, I just saw that today. Yeah, that's
awesome.
I also heard he scored a hat-trick in Chile as well when he was playing, I think, for Colo Colo or something he played. So I guess that's not quite... You throw that in there as well.
Yeah. No. It's all facts, Callum. There might be a question at a pub quiz. Someone might be really happy that you've said that. You could win them the 30 quid that probably will go back behind the bar. But still, it all matters, Callum. It all matters.
I'm doing my very best.
Going back to the game, the 89th minute, Jamie Vardy scores yet again. And Rick, I agree with what you were saying about the first goal. For me, I just feel sad for Petr Cech. He's used to someone like Ivanovic or Terry back in the day that would break that goal up. Bellerin and Monreal yesterday, I thought absolutely amazing. But Bellerin for that goal, I was cussing him something wicked. I was like, well, you just stood there. I'm like, you got to at least close the man down. Like, don't kick him and give away a penalty or whatever, but you got to at least, I don't know, block him off or something. He just let Vardy, sort of play.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's a failure to close down the danger, and we've been doing it, off and on all season, and it just, I mean, same thing. Both goals were, I think, down to us not closing down the danger. Not that we wouldn't given up goals anyway. They were hitting the post. They were playing pretty well, but it's just frustrating to see that, isn't it?
Yeah, do you think it's like a lack of communication, or is it concentration? What do you think it is? Because for me, apart from Mertesacker, really, I don't really know who's vocal out there at the back. You don't really, the camera doesn't really zoom in to see who they're talking to, really, anyway, apart from when it's on set pieces or whatnot. But for me, I just don't feel like we've got someone that's sort of leading that back line, really.
Yeah, I don't know if things like that sometimes happen so fast. It's not really about communication. It's about tenacity, and I think we have guys that want to attack, and they're just not that tenacious on defense. And I think they just need to up their attitude a bit. I don't know. You think Boldy would be back there smacking them around for that crap? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like.
What does he do apart from sit next to Wenger on the bench? Like, are we training?
Oh no, come on now. I think wasn't it? Julien Laurent on this podcast this last week, he was saying how much of a good influence Bold has been on Koscielny. So you're not saying you don't listen to the podcast, do you, James?
I do listen, but I watch the game. I want to see. You can say that he's doing. I could say to you, Callum, that last night I was with Lisa Rand. It's a lie, but I can say it on a podcast. You know what I mean?
Sorry, mate. Jesus Christ.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyway, but no, I think. I think there's a degree of it, which is a bit like I remember this when I was playing Sunday League football. When you're winning. I mean, I didn't play in a team that won very often, but occasionally you play a cup game against.
I'm liking the story already. I'm liking it.
Leagues for about 3, so they're like 4 leagues below you in the cup, and you play them, and you win. You're winning, and you're like, we're winning 4-0, and you're like, boys, this is pretty good. You're having great fun. You're starting doing skills, taking the piss a little bit because you can't really believe that you're winning a match 4-5-0. And whilst not perhaps to quite the same extent, I think a lot of the Arsenal team probably thought. We're 4-1 up. Normally we miss loads of chances, even if we do dominate a game, and are hanging on in there for the last 10 minutes. So I think naturally there's always going to be a bit of a dip, and with someone like Jamie Vardy around, who's in great form, he can punish you with that. I actually just felt really bad for Cech because he's obviously thinking,
"Yeah, oh God, yeah,
fucking hell, boys! Like I've just saved one off the line."
Yeah.
And I felt like when you signed up for us, Cech, we probably should have mentioned this happens a lot. We will just switch off all the time, and he must be thinking.
And if we're confessing, Callum, I have another one too. It was in college, playing a game, corner kick, ball comes in. I kind of lose my mark because I'm like, you know what? There's no way he's getting there. So I stop running. Well, he pulls off a diving header that scores against us, and our center back turns around and gives me a stare, and I'm like, yeah, that's on me.
You shouldn't underestimate Jamie Vardy. Think, look at him. He looks like he should be working at KFC or something, or he looks like you can tell he's recently out of conference football. You know what I mean? And he's obviously got a bit of the things he said about Japanese people and stuff. He's obviously a bit of
Yeah, he's
Bit of a
not. He's not
geezer,
a
isn't
very
he?
clever
So he's
man,
easy
yeah.
to underestimate, I think. And although he's been in great form, so fair play. But no, look,
It's just it was Bellerin. It's like you've got the pace to absolutely rip that ball off him and then charge down there and whip a cross in, but he just sort of stood there.
I think with Hector, he's still a young lad, and he's going to make mistakes that all young defenders
Yeah.
make. So it's kind of like, whilst we could sit and nitpick of every goal, and I'd like to think that the manager and Steve Boyle will be saying, boys, look, sort this shit. I mean, who knows,
Yeah.
right? But for this week, I'm just going to enjoy the 5 goals we scored and the concerns we have about the defence that will definitely come back to bite us at some point, maybe even next weekend against Man United. I would like not to think about them at the moment, otherwise I'll go insane. But yeah, obviously that was a bit of a disappointment. But
Yeah.
hey, big man Giroud, he loves
Yeah, I
he
was
loves
just
the
about to say.
4th-minute goal.
I was just about to
We're
say,
winning.
Giroud, he come off the bench a bit before that. Like I didn't really mention when the subs happened, but hey ho, I'm winging this hosting, so I'm doing my best. Oh, half an hour to prepare. I normally have 35, so
Those extra 5 minutes.
They do count, mate. They do count. But no, Giroud come on and he hit a fluffer first. I thought, oh god, here we go, same old day for him. But then he gets the goal, which he does need. His confidence is, for want of a better word, it's shot to shit, isn't it? Let's be fair.
It is. Yeah, he came on, and I'm sitting with JP at the bar, and Nick on the other side of me, and he totally fluffs that one that goes right in front of the goal.
Yeah.
He just totally missed it, and Nick is just like, "Oh, he's a donkey! Get him out of our club!" And I thought I'd lift the mood, so I sing a little Giroud song because it's all about the Beatles with him. It's all we are saying. Give Giroud a chance. And 2 minutes later, he scores a goal. So I think, again, it's down to me. I think my action's over here.
I feel like Giroud just kind of he's almost at this point. He's like, right, I will score a goal, but I'm going to miss one easy chance first, just so everyone can go, for fuck's sake, Giroud.
He's got to set expectations, right?
But then it's the easy and then score the incredible. That's the thing.
Then he'll score a goal and everyone kind of has to go, oh, okay, he scored. So there's this kind of constant undercurrent of how do you miss so many chances? But he still scored. I think I said he scored 3 goals this season. He's played something like 320 minutes of Premier League football. So it works out as something like 0.85 goals a game or something. So he's actually, his goal return in the Premier League this season has been very good. And
yeah,
on a serious note, I think if we're going to persist with Walcott as our main striker, Giroud is a great option to have from the bench. Obviously, he'll start some games, but long term, I think having him. I think a lot of people with Giroud are happy for him to be the plan B. I think a lot of people are just upset
it's a
that
great
he's
between him and Walcott. It's kind of a good yin and yang between them.
And I think Walcott has the potential to elevate himself to a level that Giroud's never really been able to hit. But Giroud, as someone completely different to Walcott, has a place in the team, has a place in the squad, and has a purpose. And while some people say, well, scoring the 5th goal in a 5-2 win in the 94th minute doesn't really mean anything, I think it's good for his confidence. And he took the chance well. He did miss that one, but on his first touch, front post, he's very good at burying those. And I think he will cause defences trouble this year. If you're knackered, obviously you don't want to face a fast player when you've been playing for 70 minutes, if Walcott comes on, for example. If Walcott's been terrorising you for the whole game, and then you've got Giroud to come on, he's going to put elbows in your face and really make himself. I think his movement's pretty good in the box, and he's not going to run away from you, but he's still not an easy player to play against, I think, when you're that tired.
I think he's better coming off the bench, personally. I think Walcott to start and Giroud to come on, I think it's better.
Well, I just think Walcott is in better form at the moment and suits our style of play a little bit better. But there'll be games where Giroud will start and will probably do better than Walcott might have done otherwise. Yeah. But it's good to see him come off the bench and get another goal. And unlike as I said, unlike Alexis, he very much is a confidence player. So every goal he scores, even if it is a 94th minute, 5th goal of the game, still important and still good for his confidence, and we'll give him a little bit of the fans might not get on his back quite so quickly, which is important, I think. So
it all counts, doesn't it? Well, let's head into the listener questions. We have got some, so thank God for that. I'm not scrambling for time. So thanks everybody that did. Yeah, I do. Thanks everybody that did tweet in. We got one from our very own Giles. He's gone, now that they've got their mojo back, do you think Alexis, Giroud and Walcott will regularly convert the many chances that we create? I don't know who wants to go first on that.
I would just say yes, and then Callum can go.
No, I think I said at the beginning of the season that when people were saying we're missing chances, we definitely need a striker. I don't think that's necessarily I think it was a bit unfair. Like, I think we all knew deep down that wasn't a clear representation of our attack. You know, and Alexis not scoring for that many games, us missing so many chances. That's not. There is a degree of that. There is a degree of frustration amongst our attack, but we're not that bad over the course of the season. I knew we would hit the net eventually, and as we've seen, as we've begun to score more, we've kind of got better and better every week, and we scored 7 goals in 2 games this week. So, I think there will be games, especially Giroud, will miss clear-cut chances. We will be tearing our hair out. And Alexis will miss some as well, so Walcott. It's just part of the game, and I think people, when they look at other strikers they deem to be world-class, they have it in their head that they score every chance, every big chance. Nothing annoys me more than X would have scored that. And you say, well, no, if you watch X every week, right? He will miss 60% of chance, 70% of chances. Obviously, they take more than most, but they still miss chances. So it's unfair to hold.
Yeah, did you see Cristiano this weekend? My God.
And Lewandowski, of course, he doesn't miss many. But at the same time, I don't know. I think they'll definitely. I think Alexis will score. Will go on a run now. Wouldn't be at all surprised. I think Walcott will go from strength to strength, and hopefully Giroud keeps his confidence up and keeps bagging goals for us, even if it's from the bench. So I think the 3 of them can score.
The other guy that I think starts to need to score goals, and you want to go ahead and ask Clive's question?
If you want. I was going to read the next one, but by all means, we'll go to Clive's. Again, guy from the podcast. Thanks, Clive. He's gone. How do you think Ramsey performed with a nice little smiley emoji?
Yeah, I think he's setting us up.
Yeah. Well, we all know my views because I said them earlier. But far away, boys.
Rick, you have it.
Yeah, he's still not hitting his heights. He's still not the guy that we saw a couple seasons ago, and I don't know what it is. Things just aren't coming off for him. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's just not the same person we saw a couple seasons ago.
He doesn't seem to try, though, what he used to do. The old Aaron Ramsey, the telling one for me was in that Chelsea game, he's got that chance, and then he cuts in again. Yeah. When Aaron Ramsey of a few years ago goes, nah, fuck this, I'm selfish, I'm scoring that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Yeah.
But that's the same for any player who's in a good run of form. Walcott took his chance because he'd scored 2 in 2 or whatever, or 2 in 3. He was obviously in good form, Walcott.
Yeah.
So you could tell that was a player in form. Even a month ago, I don't think he'd have scored that chance. He would have fumbled it, especially on his left foot. And with Ramsey in that season, once he got going, he never stopped, and he had that confidence. And I think it's a mixture of injuries last season and being played out of position this year that's just dented his confidence a bit. And actually, I don't mind him not trying so much, because there's nothing worse, really, I think, than seeing a player trying to recapture that period where he was on fire and failing miserably because they're trying to force it too much.
Do you think he, like Walcott and the others, do you think once he gets that one, that might settle him in a bit more?
That's what I wanted to say, is I think, he just needs to score a couple goals to get himself going, because right now he's just not.
Well, I don't know. I think it's with Ramsey. I don't think, even though he had that great season where he scored 20-odd goals, I don't think goal scoring is really his game. I don't think it's something that. Obviously, we all hope that he ends up like someone like Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard, who consistently get double figures for goals every season. That would be great.
Falls over and costs you a title, yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Hi, Liverpool fans.
All banter aside, they're obviously the 2 best in the Premier League at that. And Yaya Toure, another example of a great goal-scoring midfielder. But it's so hard to tell with Ramsey how much of it is down to being played out of position, because it feels like he's trying to do what he did before, but from the right, and he's not given that free rein to roam up and down like he did in that season 2 years ago. So I think it's really tough. I think long term he will be the main man for us in midfield. I've got a feeling that Cazorla is currently in his last season with us. I think he might go back to Spain.
Rolls into that position
in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think for Ramsey, the issue is that Cazorla has been a revelation in that deeper role, especially alongside Coquelin. So, I think there's what annoys me is a lot of people have decided that season was a fluke and that he's now an average player again, which I think is really unfair. I think he set a really high bar. He's not been able to match that again, but I still think he's a very functional player, a very good player who has a lot of attributes that we need in the team. I think when he isn't in good form, he can score some goals. I think he's got great vision, great passing, and he's an engine. You know, he's one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the league. So I think in long term, he will when he gets moved back to the middle, and I'm sure he will at some point in his career with us. He will begin to flourish again, I think. Whereas at the moment, he's a very, very square peg in a round hole at the moment. And I do think the team's kind of suffering for it a little bit. So I think Wenger's not really doing the team or Ramsey himself a service by playing him in that position so often. And I think I would much prefer to see a rotation of Ozil, Cazorla and Ramsey in the centre, 2 out of 3 rather than 3 at a time, and then with a more natural wide man out right. But, maybe he's going to have to play through it, and it's something that the manager's got to really deal with, because I don't think he's not going to get any better by playing through it, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think you're right, though. He needs to rotate him in the middle, and I think we got enough games coming up. He's going to have to do something like that, because we can't start the same 11 with all the games.
And with Rosicky and Wilshere out,
yeah, exactly.
We're going to need him. So it makes. I think if you think of those, so basically, normally we'd have Rosicky and Wilshere, so that would be 5 players who could play in those 2 central creative midfield spots. Mm-hmm. And with 2 of them out injured for a prolonged period of time, we only have 3. So it would make more sense to play 2 out of 3 at a time, and then you can. If you rotate them, you could still get them playing more often than not, and obviously I think every game one of them would come off the bench as well. So I think Wenger's making it much more of an issue than it needs to be, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens when we start playing more and more matches.
Mm-hmm. And just another question here, it is from Etienne Dominic. Now, I would pronounce that Etienne Dominic because I'm from Essex and a bit scummy, but I'm guessing because it says Etienne, he could be French, so it's probably Etienne Dominique. So he has put, is a DM needed in January? Looking at the obvious situation which was bound to happen with one not bought in the summer. Right, guys. Now, for me, I don't know what kind of quality DM you could get in the January window. Apart from Luis Suarez, I don't think a lot of quality players move in the Januaries. So, is it a case of possibly getting a stopgap one? Is there one that we don't really know about that's like Gabriel that can come in and do a brilliant job? What do you guys think?
I think with the issue is, people have with this issue is that Arteta and Flamini don't look up to it, but I think Arteta did actually pretty well at the weekend. Given what people expect of him, I think he did pretty well. And Flamini, of course, had the game of his life midweek against Tottenham. So, who knows? Between them, hopefully Coquelin isn't out for long. He's obviously a hugely important player for us. And irrespective of, even if you rate Flamini and Arteta pretty highly, there's no doubt that we need another competitor for Coquelin, because both Arteta and Flamini are, 31, 33, respectively. I think Flamini's slightly younger, but still obviously coming towards the end of his career. So with that in mind, we are going to need to get someone in. I think a lot of people, including myself, would have liked to have seen someone else come in the summer, but I guess if we are going to, even if we accept that Arteta and Flamini can do the stopgap role this season, there still needs to be a more longer term option to come in and compete with Coquelin at the very least. And if we can get that player in January, by all means. If Coquelin's got a long injury or a lot of niggly injuries that keep him out for prolonged periods, I'd like to see us bring in someone in that situation as well, but I doubt we will. I think Wenger decided to stick with Arteta and Flamini in the summer. Flamini didn't want to leave. Arteta was offered a new contract, and once that happened, he said, well, that's 3 players for 1 position, so we're not going to sign anyone else, and I don't think nothing's changed in that aspect, so I wouldn't expect anything to happen, but I would like to see.
I don't expect it to happen either, but I think we really need to. We needed to in the summer, because we're looking at it right now. Coquelin is out injured. Flamini is out injured. And we have, game on Wednesday, game on Sunday? Something like that? Can Arteta play twice in a week?
Weekend, I think.
The
issue is, Rick.
Can Arteta play 3 times in a week?
Well, the issue is, Rick, we all knew this in the summer. Nothing's changed since the summer. So talking about January, all we're saying really is that, we should have signed one in the summer. the players we have are the same. Let's sign someone in January if we can. I mean, that aspect hasn't changed. All I'm saying is that as nothing has changed, unless there's nothing else to make that more. We don't need a defensive midfielder any more now than we did in January. That's my point. I know Coquelin's out now, but he should be back by the weekend, so that's not changed.
Is it?
No, I'm not saying it's changed. I think we really needed one.
Yeah, but okay. I think we're in agreement here then. But I just think nothing is.
No.
The question being asked is when we could have been asked all summer and we had exactly the same answer. So, sorry, I'm being. I just think. I think everyone thinks we need another player to come in and compete with Coquelin. I don't think either Arteta or Flamini have. No one's going to look at those two games and say they've proved us all wrong. Although I do think they've perhaps proved a point that they're not as bad as we all think they are. But because of their ages, there is going to have to be someone coming in soon. As I said, I don't think it's going to happen. But
is it peanut butter Bielik time?
Well, Bielik's a funny character. I mean, he's injured. I think. He's not injured. It's Jeff that's injured.
Yeah.
But
he's been playing primarily as a centre half for the reserve, so I don't really know if he is going to be a DM. You get the people who say Callum Chambers can play out there. For me, Callum Chambers just needs as much game time as possible at centre half, and you can't be mucking him around and playing him at DM and everywhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. No Chambers and DM for me. Bielik is an unknown quantity. I mean, we've paid a fair bit of money for him given his age, and he could be another Mark Randall. He could be another Hector Bellerin. We don't know at this point. And I don't think anyone, unless you watch the reserves semi-regularly, I don't think anyone can really say how that's going to turn out. But I really can't see Wenger giving him a chance unless Arteta and Flamini and Coquelin are all out injured and everyone. I mean, even if they were, he'd probably play Ramsey and Cazorla together. I don't think there's a hell of a lot of injuries would have to happen before Bielik got drafted in. So I don't know. Bielik, I just haven't seen enough of him to comment.
No,
I just think I just don't think Wenger's going to try and bring him in. Everybody is even considering it. Otherwise, you might have seen him at the bench against Tottenham at the in midweek. I don't think he was even with us in pre-season, was he, Bielik? We had Jeff and Iwobi and stuff. So I think he's probably firmly a reserve player for this season at least, and I guess next year maybe we might see him on loan, but not this year.
No, fair enough. And lastly, we've got a lovely question here from @moreboob that just simply goes, "What's your favourite condiment?" Me's mustard. What about you guys?
Rick, you go first, mate. If you want.
Oh, I'm going first. I'll have to agree with our buddy Judd and say sriracha.
I'm going to be really weird here and go, I don't know what that is. So
neither do I. What the fuck?
Can I be told? Can I be educated here, Rick? Learn something.
It's an Asian hot sauce that's actually manufactured in California.
All right. Oh.
Well, that's probably why we don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Either Asian or Californian. I've never heard of the thing. I would say, I don't know if this really counts, but what's the definition of a condiment? I know, like...
Just say it and I'll try and help you.
Well, like your ketchups and everything that you can use for everything.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, in regards to like one specific meal, if I'm having a bit of roast lamb, that mint sauce you get with it, you can't beat it. That's like that brings the meal to life.
Walker's lamb and mint sauce crisps are back, mate. If you've not had them, get involved.
I've seen the adverts. I will be stocking up for winter.
Yeah, they are brilliant.
No, I think I do like my ketchup and everything, and with a steak, for example, nice peppercorn sauce. So again, is this a condiment? I don't think it is it?
Yeah. If you are still with us, welcome to the brand new Condiment Ramble podcast. I'm your host, James. No, getting back onto the football. Tuesday night, Olympiacos. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be another rested team because we got Man United, or do you think he's learned his lesson now and learned not to really annoy fans that much? For me, I think it'd probably be the same lineup as this weekend, but Arteta will probably start. And I think it'll be exactly the same, but Arteta will probably start because I think he'll say Coquelin for Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we'll see is probably a few rotations, but not as many as we saw against Tottenham or against Zagreb. We might see Gibbs coming in, perhaps, or Spina coming in.
Do you think Debuchy might get a go?
Yeah, I think he might. I think the issue with Debuchy is that, as Julien Laurens was pointed out, and I agree with him about this, he said in the last podcast, he's not become a bad player overnight. He's tough when you've been out of the team for this long to come in and do well. And He struggled a lot against Zagreb and against Tottenham, and I really mean he did struggle. He was playing, his positioning was just dreadful, which is something that a player of his experience was really disappointing to see. But I wouldn't be too upset if he started. I think he'll against home at Olympiacos, touch wood, shouldn't be quite as problematic. But no, I think we will see some rotation, but perhaps, hopefully not to the extent we saw at Zagreb. Guys like Oxlade-Chamberlain coming in, for example, he feels like a first-team player. He doesn't feel like a sub. Him coming in isn't really an issue, I don't think. And maybe we'll see Giroud start, but Wenger will make the decision based on how the players are feeling. Coquelin won't be rushed back. I'm certain of that. I would definitely save him for United if there's a chance of him being available for that. And Arteta and Flamini, if Flamini's okay, keep him in. But Arteta hopefully can do the job. I always thought Arteta can do a job against smaller sides that we. I don't know enough about Olympiacos to know what they're going to be like. So they might end up being brilliant now for some reason.
That's a shame because we brought you on due to your fact of Greek football and how much you know about the Greek league. I'm really.
It's actually Cypriot football that is my.
Oh, I see.
My speciality. Yeah. So
sorry,
it's pretty racist, James, so you might want to edit that out, Rick. Later. But no, I don't know. We should have enough to beat them, and I think after the last 2 games, we will be in good form, feeling good about ourselves, and we should hit a few. I'd love Joel Campbell to play, by the way, and score a couple against his old club. I know he's only on loan there, but he needs a goal. He looks pretty miserable all the time, doesn't he? So he could definitely do with one. But
what about yourself, Rick? What do you think the team's going to be?
I think he's going to make a lot of changes again. I know we were disappointed against Zagreb, but I don't know that it was the changes necessarily. I think it was their reaction to the changes. I think, and I think Clive brought it up, a lot of the players got put into that game thinking, oh, that means I'm not going to start against Chelsea, and they were grousing. So I think it was more performance than the changes made. And I also think you simply got to rest people. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think he's going to have to start Arteta in this game. Yeah. And then will Mikel be ready to play against United on the weekend? Because I don't know that either Coquelin or Flamini are going to be fit. So I'm really going to be curious to see what happens with Arteta. Can he play 2 games in a week like that? I think Giroud might get a start. I don't know about Joel Campbell. Probably Oxlade-Chamberlain. The defenders will probably get swapped in. Gibbs and Debussy, I would bet, would play. So, and I'm not bothered by that. But
what I would say is that I would take a loss if it means we beat United on Saturday.
I don't like losing to anybody, Callum. I don't like.
You want to start with him, James? I'll go too.
No, I'm not saying a loss would be acceptable.
Blaspheme!
I'm saying I am more than happy to see us take risks and roast players.
You talk about editing things out, Rick. You want to edit that out for him because he's going to get crucified. I hope you've got your tough boots on, mate, because on YouTube you're going to get roasted for that, mate.
Listen. I'm just saying. I think.
Want us to lose?
No. Did you? No, listen to me.
He said he would accept. I think he would accept.
I'm saying that I am happy for us to risk losing this game. Not even risk losing, but to perhaps rotate players.
I'm getting redder by the seconds here. I'm getting redder. Arms are getting sweaty.
I'm not one of these people that wants us to lose games for whatever walk reason. I want us to beat Olympiacos, but I want us to prioritise Man United.
Yeah,
that game is huge. It is so big, especially with the way the league table now looks. And I think don't risk Coquelin, don't risk Walcott, don't risk Alexis. Whatever the manager says, fine. But I am more than happy to see us rotate if it means keeping players fresh for the weekend. And we should have enough to beat Olympiacos with the B team. Not even the B team, but players that aren't regular starters.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my point. It's not really a B team. All this rotation, these were guys that were nailed on starters at one point or another. So it's not like we're starting a bunch of kids.
And also with Gabriel back as well, only 2 of him, Mertesacker and Koscielny, start. Right. So any one of those 3 comes in on the week in the week, and then it comes out at the weekend.
I think it'll be Mertesacker. I think Gabriel will be brought back for the league game, which I hope he will be.
I think I don't know. He's very loyal, Wenger, to his players, so I don't know about that. But but then also, I think Gabriel will start in the week, and then Mertesacker will come back in at the weekend. I'm not particularly upset either way. I think both
exactly. Well, let's just get a score prediction and wrap it up. So, Rick, I'll come to you first. Who's your first goal scorer, and what's the scoreline going to be?
Oh, first goal scorer. That's going to be tough, not knowing for sure who's going to start up top.
Well, it's not going to be Giroud because he's banned, so.
Oh, that's right. He can't.
Oh shit! Of course, I thought that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's banned.
I guess Walcott will play them.
Yep.
Or Joel Campbell up front, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, Joel Campbell, first goal scorer, right? I'm gonna say 3-1. First goal scorer is shit. I don't know. Cazorla. Let's get Santi a goal.
I thought you could just do one funny. Oh, the Petr Cech, first goal scorer.
Yeah.
And Callum yourself?
3-0, Mesut Ozil.
Oh, good shout.
I'm going to go. Actually, will he start?
Go for it.
I don't know if he will start, actually, will he? It's tough, you're right. Actually, go on. 3-0 Oxlade-Chamberlain. He'll start.
Yeah, you've stole mine, so yeah, I was going to go 3-0 Chamberlain. So yeah, fair enough. Well, that's been a Gooner Ramble on behalf of Rick, Callum, and myself. I want to say good morning, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. 1, 2, 3.